Welcome back to another episode of Practical and Prophetic. And you already know I'm your host, Learn with Tara, or you can call me Tara. And listen, if this is your first time, I hope you stay for not just a good time, stay for a long time. And if you have been here before, thank you so much for your support. We're going to get right into this episode. But before we do, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you enjoy this conversation, or if you heard something that resonated with your spirit, comment back in the comments. And because I do talk back, y'all, okay? I talk back. All right. Listen, I am excited about today's episode. I want to go ahead and, without further ado, introduce a very powerful, phenomenal woman of God, Sarah Badran. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
What's up, Sarah?
Pause. What's up? How's it going?
It's going good, girl. It's going good, honey. I'm so like ready to have this conversation. Before we even get into this, because I want to get into like what you do. The Lord dropped something in my spirit like while we were in the process of getting ready.
Okay.
And we just gonna go right off the dome,
by
the spirit. So all right, let's get into who you are.
Okay.
Who are you? Who would you say you are?
Yes. Well, again, I'm Sarah Badran. I'd like to describe myself as a multi-hyphenate of sorts. I do a lot of things in the marketing entertainment mix. So I have an agency that I founded 8 years ago called Creative Currency. And yeah, we do everything from PR to events to brand management, help people get brand partnerships, mostly working in the entertainment, fashion, and art space. So produced hundreds of events over the last 15 years in the market. And yeah, I just love doing dope creative things and feeding the culture and the market fun experiences.
That is super dope. And I'm just blown away that you said 15 years, because you don't look old enough to have been doing this for 15. You cute or whatever. So how did you, like, first of all, you really in the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, you really in the industry.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a lot of people that talk about industry things, but they're not in there. But you are there. And you have a purpose, right? I heard you say, like, at one point when we were talking prior to the podcast that this was God ordained. How did you get to that space? Like, how did you know that this was what you needed to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I came from a really big family that you know, God was at the forefront always, you know, and we would always be brought together by just celebrating each other's birthdays, entertainment. That was always a theme around our family. And so, you know, we grew up doing performances in the church and things like that too. So entertainment has always like been engraved in me. So, yeah, in the DNA since like I was a kid. But again, I just got really inspired at a really young age, just kind of looking up to some of the people that, you know, like people like Michael Jackson's of the world and other people like that I was just so fascinated by the entertainment industry at such a young age. So I always just knew I needed to find a way to get in, and, you know, took a lot of different twists and turns to get where I'm at. And, you know, God definitely opened up lots of opportunities for me, but also put a lot of obstacles in front of me so I could learn. But yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey, and I'm so excited to get into it.
Yes, I'm excited to get into it too. Sis, like, it sounds like it's a very fun type of career, a very immersive experience, because you're dealing with people from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
You said that you working with major labels too, right?
Yes.
Like, expound a little bit on that, because we're going to go deeper in it. And we're going to go deeper in a minute.
Yeah. So the goal has always been to like work at a label. But like now that the music industry has shifted, I've actually found a really cool way to work with music labels as my clients in this new like promotional marketing mix. So the first label I had the opportunity to work with, and they're still current clients of mine, is Def Jam. And I've pretty much gotten to work with everybody on that roster, from, you know, Kanye to Rihanna to Big Sean, 2 Chainz. You know, recently did something with Coco Jones. I actually have something coming up with Lady London, who's a new artist that we just signed on that label. But since then, it's expanded to, I've also done some work with Epic Atlantic Records. I did something with them in March, and then 2 weeks ago, I got to do something with RCA Records and the artist Lucky
Okay.
Day. So that was really fun.
That sounds so dope,
Yeah.
and it looks so pretty. But
Oh, you saw the video?
no, I'm just
Okay.
saying like it looks pretty because I'm saying the story and what
Oh,
you're doing.
yes.
It looks so good. It looks so pretty, and I'm pretty sure like some people probably watching this like, man, that that's dope. Like I aspire to do that, but as we know, all things that look pretty
Yeah.
sometimes come with some ugly roads, some ugly experiences, and
For
so
sure.
I'm pretty sure you've had some. Actually, we kind of talked prior to the to this episode, and we share something super relatable, right, from our backstory on creating and becoming an entrepreneur, losing things, having to recreate yourself. Can you talk a little bit about like your process to get to this point right now?
Ooh.
That's
That's
packed.
a-
That's a very packed topic, but just try
Yes.
to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, there was really no like roadmap for me to follow, especially like here in Dallas where we lack a lot of like infrastructure and we're not an entertainment based city. So I think early on I kept trying to chase and find, ways to get into the industry. And like through my work over the years, I realized I actually had to create the industry that I wanted to work in.
Wow.
Because,
So
yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me interject real
Yeah.
quick. So what you're saying is like, obviously, because you shine a light wherever you go in the industry, and you had a passion, you had a desire, and what you're saying is like what you wanted to do specifically didn't exist.
Yeah.
There was no blueprint. There was no framework.
Right.
You didn't have someone blazing a trail before you. So you're like, man, I just need to create this.
Right.
Okay, that's that right there for all those who are watching. Sometimes like God will put something in your heart, and this is even what he's been ministering to me recently about some of the things he's having me to launch out and do. There is no blueprint. He will architect that thing, and by
sure.
downloading it into your head, into your heart. So you go and you create this, and then what?
Yeah, honestly, that's the only way to explain it is that God opened up pathways and put ideas in my heads, and I kind of just ran with it. So the key turning point, I think, where my career really started and accelerated was when I was like chosen to produce or be a director for this arts organization called Raw Artists. And so it was basically every other month I was producing a showcase that featured like 50 to 60 artists of every type of medium. So it was everything from a fashion show to an art show to hair and makeup, beauty show, dance, film, everything. So at that time I had, kind of just gotten out of college, and I was like, I didn't have any type of like real network. So I knew a few club promoters like in the market, and I was just like, and I had a little bit of an event background from working in hotels because I did work in hospitality prior to that. So I kind of like merged the two, and then I really just like hit the streets. I was like going to every event possible, just kind of studying, I was just trying to find any curator that I could to see if I could pick their brain.
Yeah.
And then I would just attend every art show, every music show, every fashion show, just like constantly researching what was going on in the market and just like being present and like, introducing myself and like building up my network. And over that time, it was 3 years that I was a director there, and I got to produce 20 shows and work with over 1,000 artists in the market. So that's really where I build the foundation of this all in my network.
I'm so happy you said built, because what is at the top of my heart, top of my spirit, is something that we've been talking about. A couple of weeks ago, I heard the Lord say, you will build your own breakthrough. And he referred to the story of Noah, right? And you remember how Noah built this like massive ark, which is something that he wasn't even experienced doing. It's just something that God showed him. It's something that God basically taught him how to do, and the very thing he was building was his own way out. And so sometimes, like the point of the conversation with a lot of the family that's watching today, a lot of my people from TikTok and different social media platforms, we were just having this conversation on sometimes like the open door that we're looking for will come in the form of us building it. Sometimes we're praying, God, open a door, and he's like, I'm giving you the tools to build your own way into a promise. And so like all I see with what you're doing, what you've done, is you have built this. It looks amazing now, and like you have a lot of success or perceived success, right? But it took a lot of hard work, a lot of grit. What was it about you that kept you focused, obviously at a young age? Because where you are now, you put so much work into it. Obviously you had to make some sacrifices. So what was that?
Absolutely. Man, I mean, sacrifices, I've had so many sacrifices that I've had to make, from my time not getting to see my friends and family as much. My mother, actually, she lives overseas, so like it's been hard to like even just get over there to see her, because I'm just constantly having events and things and that I'm managing, and I feel like a great, you know, you know, crown on my head, but it's also a huge responsibility, because from the start of it, like as I was producing more events and I realized like creating these platforms was helping a lot of people, I really found my purpose in that. And a lot of people came to me and was just asking how they can continue to build with me, or how they can help to just continue to create more opportunities, because Dallas was just so hungry for more platforms and opportunities of quality to like put themselves out there. So I mean, from there, that's really what spawned me starting my agency, was a way to just continue to be creative, but also just find a way to continue to help people.
Wow. I love that. It's a couple things you said that I want to kind of touch on. So you talked about the sacrifice in the formative stages of your business and what you're doing. You didn't have the time to spend a lot of time with the people that you love. Do you feel like you have that balance now? Do you feel like, or is it still a struggle?
I think honestly, one of the biggest things I'm focused on right now is understanding and learning boundaries, because I've kind of like, I always thought that like, that the good was coming because I was keeping myself open and just available to everybody, but it made me realize like how much of myself I lost within that. So right now, the biggest thing in order to find that balance is creating healthy boundaries and, just blocking out time and prioritizing time for my family and friends, so I can, get back to having that healthy balance.
So now you feel like you found that balance. And then you said something else. You said, I do feel like I have a crown, right? Because of what you've created, and, you have like market authority, but that crown get heavy.
Sure is. Ooh, my neck be hurting.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's weird because I have this like challenge almost every single day of just like kind of processing it, because every day I get really crazy calls, like, and some things, it kind of almost seems like I have to be careful what I speak out loud, because my manifestation and what I speak to God, he provides. So like I have to be careful, because when I say something, it surely enough, it's usually, now it's like it kind of almost happens instantly, and it's pretty wild. So, a lot of people admire what I've been able to create and what I do and the resources I have and the connections I have. So I do get calls almost every day, just, of people just wanting me to like work with them, hop on their projects, like see how I can help. Maybe I can help them, either get on the media or with brand sponsorships or things like that. So, again, I just have the biggest heart and I love helping people, but I've had to realize like, now I've reached a different level in my career and life where I have to just kind of be more selective of certain things, and kind of really like, this is something I keep speaking lately, is just about like thinking about things that are like pouring into my cup as opposed to taking away, because like I've been so depleted for so long, just constantly giving from my cup, that I'm in the stage in life where I'm trying to get back to just pouring back into it and filling it up more. So I have more to give.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. What I love too is that, as believers, we are called to pour, but not from an empty place, as you said. I love how, you said like, man, it's like I'm recognizing the need to be poured into, so I can go back, not to like, completely shut down and close off and not give and not help, but to be able to actually expand and do more from a place that's healthy for you and from a place that'll be beneficial for other people. I can definitely relate to the whole having a big heart and, creating boundaries. This is something that, I think that for me, I'm just constantly growing into. But in this season, let me tell you something. The Lord literally spoke to me these words like, you're in a pruning season. And I actually released this as a prophetic word to a lot of people. And he gave me like John 15, where it talks about you are the branches, I'm the vine. And if you abide in me and I in you, you will bear a lot of fruit. But part of the pruning process is those vines have to be cut. And it's a lot of cuts. And so sometimes in our lives, like God is cutting things away, or he will tell us, like, hey, it's time for some cuts. That may be environmental, relational, even professionally, ministerially, and sometimes in family situationships, family relationships too. And the point of the cut, when I did like a study on that from like a scientific standpoint, is for it's literally a preparation for a harvest. So when a grapevine is being cut back, the only reason why it's cut is because it has such a harvest to produce. And so I definitely feel like that's the season that you're in. When we setting those boundaries and stuff, it's not like a bad thing. It's actually a blessing.
Oh no, I'm super excited about it. Like it's funny. I joke around with my friends, but I'm almost like taking classes on how to say no. Because I like, yeah, it's just like, I didn't realize how hard for just saying no was for me. Because I'm just like, always came from like, yes, I can do it all. You feel like you're Superwoman and, of course. But there's definitely a power in learning how to say no and just protecting yourself, protecting your time, your peace.
Yes. That's so powerful because like, just because we can don't mean we should. First of all, that's good. I'm learning that too. I'm like, we right here in the same boat. Wow. And I love that, like, God will usher us into that. For sure. Jesus himself stole time away. Stole time. He would, separate. He would go and center himself. Well, Jesus was centered in and of himself, but he literally would, when he go off in prayer or, go off alone and worship God and refuel and all of these different things. And I just love how, as believers, like, you will hear a lot, like, it's give. That's true. But it's also understanding, like, when to give, who to give to, is this the right time to give? Whether that's heart, that's a heavy one. Because we talk about money. That's the easy part, money and, resources and stuff. But like having to learn how to set boundaries with your heart is different.
For sure. And two, just time, because you can't buy time back. You can always make money back, but you can't get your time back.
Facts. So what are you doing like while you're balancing, like in this free time? I don't know how much free time you got, girl, because it sounds like you're still real busy. It sounds
I know, right?
But when you take that time, like what does that look like for you?
Just getting back to things that like I know bring me joy. I came from growing up dancing. I danced professionally for 15 years. So getting back to just doing things like that. I enjoy doing photography and just being creative. I'm going to explore. I'm a foodie, so I love going out, trying new places. A thing I kind of still do for fun, but is also kind of work, is like go to a lot of shows. So I love being entertained. That's why it's part of like, being in the entertainment industry, but it's also still really fun for me. And just spending time with friends, going to the spa. Just picked up a new trainer, so trying to get back healthy, things like that.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
that's definitely something that is so like pivotal in the growth process. Is like making time for yourself. I'm like last December, I was praying about something that it was like so heavy on my heart, and the Lord was like, I'm not going to do that thing for you until you learn how to give to yourself the way you give to others.
Yeah.
Literally, this is what the Lord spoke to me. He was like, and I was like, well, I do, and he was like, no, you don't. Like, you bend over backwards for this, but you won't bend over backwards for you. And it's, in my personal perspective, like self-love isn't about being consumed with self. It's about valuing, the God in you and cherishing you as a human being and, loving on yourself so that you can lead with love to other people. And so that's something that was like really at the top of my thing last year. I think I did it well.
Yeah.
I think I learned to do it well, and I'm still
important.
Yeah. So
I'll take any tips that you have.
Okay, girl. Listen, go on some trips. Okay. Go on some trips. Solo dolo.
I do want to do that.
Yeah.
I've taken some work trips solo, but like I want to do like some type of retreat, like to kind of just like pour back into myself. Yeah, I think, being in public relations, you have to be able to engage with a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. And the entertainment industry, like, can be a crazy, dark place, And so, and a lot of people, too, like, from church or just people they are concerned about, like, some of the influences that are around me that might impact me kind of being in this space. But I think that's where I feel like I've always held on to, like, being a light and being positive in that space. And I've noticed, especially with my work with celebrities, like, they're so used to people being around them and wanting to just take from them constantly, taking pictures, asking them for stuff, being like weird around them and things like that. And they have to view themselves differently because of the way people act around them. So I think for me, I always like go with the approach of just making them feel at home, at ease, comfortable. Like, I'm just another homie and we're just working together. I'm a peer. I'm here to help, make you feel comfortable. And I've always led with that type of approach. And it's really like held, really well as far as just creating genuine relationships where people remember you and they appreciate you. And, because again, we're kind of like all in it together and building together. But it could be, a pretty crazy world for someone who is a celebrity. So I try to just, keep that impact where they're just like, hey, I feel like good with this person. I can trust her.
That's super dope. I love how you're like staying true to yourself. And ministry happens in places where the church is not. And so that's like, we just need to like validate that, right?
Yeah.
Jesus himself went a whole bunch of places, right? And I always say, like, he didn't weird things out. I just love how, like, he could be around anybody and he wasn't preaching to everybody, right? At all times. And so, I just think that sometimes, from a religious standpoint, we look at things, we can look at things so linear, so like one directional, when in fact God is super multi-dimensional and he has purposes like, his purpose is far beyond ours. And so I just love that, like, you're in a space where you're able to thrive and do something, stay true to yourself and still shine that light. This is something I wanted to ask you. Like, you obviously your whole agency is turned up, right?
Yeah.
Have you had to turn anything down? Like,
I mean, honestly, I used to have a really big like passion of working with like up and coming and developing artists, and I still take on a few. Like, I would say I started my career doing more of that, but now that I've kind of it's hard to say because, like I said, I'm very humble. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm working with
doing
these,
that.
Big celebrities. You don't have access to me. But at the same time, again, in that process of leveling up and protecting my time and peace, like, I kind of have to prioritize certain projects, that are good for the brand or like will yield me, something in return that I am looking for at this stage in my life. So, I'm always happy to like consult or like help someone with little things, but like the amount of attention a lot of like up and coming artists need is just like very hands-on.
Overwhelming.
And so I don't have as much time to do that. I'm more like particular about just projects that I know I could come in, do my thing, and kind of
keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing. Exactly.
So like, if it were somebody out there, because I want to give some people some pointers and tools on how to approach people like you. This is not an invitation for everybody to go and DM Sarah and be asking for X, Y, and Z, okay? But you're in the industry, you're a subject matter expert. So if it was someone who was up and coming, somebody who, said, man, like, I'm looking for an opportunity or I, want mentorship, what, in your opinion, is the best way to come?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is understanding what you want to get out of it. I think a lot of people either try to compare themselves to somebody else's path and career and just know that, your journey is for you. And that stands true in any, situation, any industry, any art form. So, and I think too, just don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and get dirty. Like, this is not pretty, everything that you see that's like on TV or movies, like, it's very much packaged to look very easy and all like perfect, and if you really uncover it, you'll realize there's like, again, like, people who have been putting in the groundwork, putting in the time, putting in the hard work, and there's really no way to go around that. A lot of people want to skip the process, but the process is so necessary, and it's really a beautiful thing. And you know, you have to build that solid foundation to sit off of. Like, you can't just like skip those steps, because you know you'll fall through the cracks.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I love how you talked about, like, sometimes, especially in today's age, we do get antsy and anxiety, and
Yeah.
you know, we want things now. And it's also easy for some people to kind of like look at somebody like you or any other influencer that it's like, man, it seems like you just popped out.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just what it seems, right?
Right.
There's, like you said, it's a lot of work on the back end. I talk to my supporters and my family, my followers, all the time about a lot of things, practical and spiritual. And so one of the things that I really like to push women into, since I have it's a lot of women that I'm privileged and blessed to be able to talk to, I like really make a big push to kind of advocate for women entering in tech. I also, not just women, brothers, y'all know I got y'all too. Like, come on. But I'm definitely super passionate about that. I'm a woman in tech. I do a lot of things, ministry and stuff too. But like, I've seen myself be able to come from like nothing and really, you know, create a path for me and my family. And it was a lot of hard work, what you were talking about. And there's a process. So to say, I wanted to say that because there was a time where, you know, this was many years ago, I would be like, man, like, I'm not going to do that because it's going to take too long. Because you'll start, you know, you see a goal or you see, you know, something that you feel could be an outcome, but it's so much, it feels like it's so far away, and it can be tempting to get discouraged because you gotta put, you know, it's like, man, you know, that's not gonna happen in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. But my thing that I came to, the resolve that I came to, is time gotta pass anyway, right? So, you know, time gonna pass. Either you're gonna be productive and do the work and, you know, build that, whatever it is that you feel called to build, and get to that point in time, or don't build it and still get to that point in time and be in the same place.
Right.
Yeah. So that was very powerful what you said. So what would you say to that person before we like wrap up our segment today, like to the person who does feel like, man, like, I've been working hard, I have been putting that time in, but regardless of what sphere or field they're in, but I don't see no movement, what would you say to that person?
I think usually when that happens, you're kind of doing the same thing. So I think thinking outside of the box and trying something different and getting out of your comfort zone, like things that's not easy, that's not safe, that's not comfortable. So I think I see a lot of people who are really safe about it because they, you know, of course it's good to like have structure and also, you know, do things that are going to be stable for you. But at the same time, you know, in order to really like win, I think in this game you have to be ready to take risks. And so I would say, yeah, be ready to take risks and appreciate and be grateful for the milestones that you've gotten. Some people don't realize how much those little milestones really like take you over the edge. Like, they're always so focused on that big goalpost line and reaching that, but each milestone should be celebrated. And I always tell myself, as long as like each year you have like something where you get better or grow, even if it's little or big in any way, like that's an accomplishment. Like,
Absolutely.
you're doing something good for yourself.
Celebrate the small wins.
Absolutely.
Wow, I love that. That's powerful. I'm gonna touch on that real quick because something just really hit my spirit. You talked about taking risks. Every person that I have ever read about who did something great or who was called to something great from a biblical standpoint had to take a risk.
Right.
And it's crazy because when you're on a faith journey, that's really what it looks like. It is all about that. Esther, she was in a process where she went from being an orphan to a queen. So she was in her palace, like she was in her promise. But then that wasn't it. There was still an assignment, and she was called to take a risk, right? She was called to take a risk to go in and do something that could have cost her position, right? Go and sit with a king, entertain her king, her husband, without being called for, which in that time, that was something that could have been detrimental. But she had to take that risk because that's why she was there. There was something more. And what I realized about the Lord is, no matter what sphere of influence God calls us to, or what path or what industry, He wants us to be blessed. We will inherit the benefits of being in his will, but there's always a greater purpose, and that's going to come by way of risks. And so, I just say to the person out there who you feel stagnant or stuck, maybe you're not operating at the highest level of faith that God is calling you to in this season. It's faith to faith and glory to glory. And so more faith is going to require more action. And that action is going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, but when you're guided by him, you'll get to that destination.
Absolutely. I would say like faith, having deep amounts of faith, in yourself and in your faith is so important, because honestly, like, a lot of people would say, and sometimes when I think back about like everything that I've accomplished, like I've had to like have some level of like delusion to think that I could accomplish all of this, but it was really the faith that I had.
Facts. It was faith.
Like I just feel so blessed that God gave me so much faith, because again, there's just so many times where it seemed impossible or I wanted to give up, but I was just like, no, I know that I was sent on this earth to live a purpose and, strive for the best and like not give up. And, I've always found a way, and God's always provided a way.
Facts is that's so powerful. Well, this is your call to action. It's time to start or it's time to finish. You got to either start or finish, and it doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. Even this podcast, we had some hiccups with this podcast. There are things right now that I'm doing, that Sarah's doing, that they may not be as streamlined as we want it to be. It may not be as aligned, but do it anyway. This is the time. This is your time. Stop overanalyzing. Don't overthink. You see where God has brought her, and we heard about different things that she's been able to accomplish, even in the midst of, trials, having to grow within herself, but she's still making it. So can you. So it's time for you to either start or finish that thing. Listen, Sarah, I really enjoyed this segment.
This was such a good talk. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
I feel like we could just talk forever.
Facts. It's like, dang, we got to close this episode. But listen, you guys, listen, I do want you, now, go follow Sarah, okay? Go follow, but y'all, please don't be talking. I see, I don't need 10,000 people trying to reach out. But no, for real, go follow her, especially if you are in the entertainment industry. If you do anything related to like music or anything, there's a lot of stuff that she's always doing around Dallas and even outside of Dallas.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
You have anything like super cool coming up?
Yeah, well, I'm doing some work with this festival Togetherland that's coming up.
Okay.
Have you heard of it? No, okay. It's a new big festival that's about to hit the market. They have like Lil Wayne and Summer Walker, the headliners. But so I'm actually curating a local stage with Toyota. So I got to curate and highlight a couple really dope local artists on there. So I have that coming up, and then I have another Emerge, a fashion show that I produce here in the market coming up around the corner that we're working on. So I would say please keep up with me through my socials. My company's at Creative Currency, and I'm at just my name, Sarah, with an H, Badran, Badran. That's really where I post a lot of fun things that are going on. My stories are always filled with either events that I'm producing or events that my friends in the industry are. We do a lot of cool stuff.
That's what's up. What's up. That's super dope. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. And as I said, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment. And if you found any value, share it with somebody else. And until the next time, we'll see you later.